this is Dave Winfree. This is another tutorial about the compass of consciousness. Some of you may have heard it referred to as the map of consciousness or the spreadsheet of consciousness. Today we're going to be looking at a few of the levels and just running through them very quickly to give you a feeling of how it works and when you're using it, how you can look at it and what it means. It just give you a little bit more insight. The most important, not the most important level, but the base level is what we would call wanting and getting. It's the basic animal being out there in the world of physicality, getting what it needs to survive, and hopefully even thriving and getting a little bit more, having a little bit extra stored away. That's what the wanting and needing level is. It's like a squirrel going after its nuts, and it gets one nut and it eats it, and then there's this moment of fulfillment, happiness. I have found my nut, I have been fulfilled. And then the wanting and needing continues, and one needs and wants another nut, and one goes out and seeks it. The reason we call this the wanting and getting level of consciousness is because fulfillment and the actual having of what one is seeking tends to be a very small part of the equation. Those times come, and it's very exhilarating sometimes going out and trying to get what you want, find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or get the paycheck at the end of the week. But there's a lot of hard work and striving and struggling that comes along with it. And there's long periods of time when you don't have what you're seeking, but you are in the process of wanting it, needing it, craving it, and trying to get it. In other words, your happiness is outside of you. And at this level, the happiness is generally outside of you. The moments of fulfillment and happiness and eureka, I have it, I've got it, it's mine, tend to be relatively short before the next round of wanting and needing kicks in. The other thing that happens is the human body is filled with programming that some of it's from the reptilian age, if you will, and some of it's from the age of the monkeys. You call it the reptile mind or the monkey mind. And the reptile mind is sort of, if you see something moving, do I eat it? Do I run from it? Or do I mate with it? Or do I just go to sleep now? Because all is well, I've been fed, and now I'm going to go to sleep. So those are very simple instincts. You move up to the monkey mind and you get more into relationship, and the monkeys enjoy being with each other and grooming each other, and it gives them a sense of security to be together, and they form alliances and they have friendships and so forth. And then you move on up to the human mind, and then you actually move into the levels of energy that interact with physicality. In fact, physicality is just an aspect of much larger energy fields. We're just focused on it here as human beings. We have such a tight focus that we see it as being very rigid and hard and physical and firm. Actually, it's not. It's just energy in play. So, when things are going pretty good at the wanting, craving, and needing level, life is good. Sometimes it gets a bit rowdy. You can move into striving, seeking, getting, and taking. You might, in your exuberance of getting, you might actually step on other people's toes. And because of that, human beings put lots of laws into effect to protect. And people at this level obey and observe those laws to the extent that they observe that it is in their best interest, and they break those laws to the extent that they observe that it's not in their best interest. They want to be protected from the getting and taking of other people, but they don't want too much laws and restrictions placed on their own getting and taking. Now, when the getting and taking is not going well, or when one is afraid that one might actually lose one's store of nuts, or that someone else will come in and take, one enters a lower level of energy field called fear. With fear, you're moving into defending, withdrawing, constricting. Maybe you're going to build a fort. You're going to buy a safe. You're going to protect. You're going to hide what you have and try to secure it. And when you're at that level, you're not moving forward anymore. You're just trying to consolidate and hold what you have so that you don't lose it. And at the level of fear, you might actually strike out at someone because you fear them. You fear that they're going to take or harm you. So that's what goes on at the level of fear. It's a step down in its capability of transforming the world, of moving ahead. It has much less power than the higher level of wanting and getting. Now, when you've actually suffered a loss, when you have incurred harm, when you observe that you have suffered pain or hardship, you might move into the level of grief or sorrow. You're focused on the past, on this past event, and you can't quite move ahead. Now that's a lower level than even fear. With fear you could at least protect and so forth. At the level of grief and sorrow, you're just kind of standing there looking backwards. And I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm just saying that there's a certain point when you realize, I've been here for a while and I would like to be in another neighborhood now. I don't want to be stuck in this grief and loss and sorrow forever. And it's time for me to move ahead. And at that point, one can move up to a higher level through one's intention. One is done with one thing and one is moving on to another. Now there are levels below grief and sorrow. There is depression. Sometimes it seems like things are so stuck, you can't move ahead. The world does not accept your creativity. You see no way of being yourself in the world, and you become depressed, unable to move forward, low energy, apathetic. And then sometimes you'll have situations where there's guilt and shame, which is an even lower level. That's where in your interactions and relationships with others, something has become so broken. You perceive yourself to have failed in some way, that you've broken the fabric of the relationship and you don't see how you can be redeemed or set things right, and it just seems awful. It seems as if you certainly can never move ahead again. And then we move into the lowest level, which we would call alienation. This is where someone feels so separated that they're ready to move into a place of negation. They feel that they have been rejected, they're separated, and there's no way that they can ever be unified with the whole. So these are neighborhoods that you generally want to spend very little time in. Most of us have visited these places from time to time, but it's good to be able to get out of them, to be able to see them for what they are. It's also important to know that they are energy fields, that when you are linked to this, you're resonating with the field of all fear. Who would want to be in the field of all fear and let that shape your life, your view, and your actions and your thoughts and your feelings? Or in the energy field of depression. So that's why it's important to recognize these, to recognize them as energy fields, and then to begin to be able to focus higher and bring yourself into another energy field which will lift you and begin to shape your observations, and you're going to see new opportunities and you're going to be able to move forward in a new way.